Well, I'm Kelly O'Connor. I'm one of the founders of College Money Academy, and I've got my daughter with me. This is Madison.
I'm the test child of 6.
That's right. She is the test child because I have, including her, 6 kiddos to get through school. 4 of my own, and then recently got married again and acquired 2 stepsons that are, one's a teenager and one's about to get into middle school. So Madison was our test kid, and fortunately...
A success story.
It's a great success story.
Finishing out my first year, not super far from home, and getting to kind of relive with my brother, who's a junior now, the whole college planning experience.
Yeah, it's awesome. So knowing what I have taught parents for so many years, I was actually kind of afraid a little bit of when Madison was finally graduating and we were stepping into all the college stuff. Because if it didn't work for us, then how could I stand in front of families and speak and teach and educate? So fortunately, it went very well.
It went really well. I was accepted into all but one of the schools I applied to. All of these schools were out-of-state schools that I thought I would never be able to even attend due to high tuition. But after learning from and watching videos that my dad has produced and even kind of put into perspective in our own lives, getting to see that these schools that I never even thought I had a chance of attending, being kind of an average student, I got accepted to, and then to kick off the financial aid process, and then open doors that I never even thought I was able to have open.
When I first found out that I was going to be a new dad, and it turned out to be this beautiful girl sitting next to me here, college was not even close to being on the radar screen. I was 25 years old, and it was way off in the distance. I knew at some point it would start coming, but I just didn't pay attention to it. I just figured that it would kind of take care of itself, and I constantly was just pushing it away. Well, my goodness, man, all of a sudden she's grown into a beautiful young lady. And I have always kind of in my mind referred to college, at least when she was growing up, as this storm that's way off in the distance. And it just kept getting closer and closer. And it amazed me at how quickly we went from a little girl to this 13-ish-year-old, 14-year-old girl that is having aspirations. And I realized at that point, I've got to take this incredibly seriously. Well, that's a good one. I don't remember specific conversations when you were like middle school age.
I remember we would always play catch in our front yard. Like, that's what I basically did for a full-time job, is play catch with my dad. And we would always kind of talk about that, and it would normally start with football. Like, Dad, did you see this game against these schools? Like, that would be a fun school to go to, but there's no way I can afford that. And I remember he would kind of start playing in like, well, and you know, you're going into high school next year, just work hard, be involved, and we'll see what comes 4 years down. And sure enough, some of those same schools that I mentioned that still killing it in football, but like, out of my price range, I was not only applied to but accepted to and offered financial aid at those schools. And so it kind of, those conversations early on really kind of sparked a fire.
Yeah, and I was just really getting into digging into the details. So I wasn't squashing any conversations by any means, but definitely expediting my homework because of that storm, and I'm playing catch with my girl that's talking about colleges with good football teams, and it's right around the corner. So in my research, I discovered that college is actually negotiable, similar to a garage sale item. That you don't necessarily, just because of the sticker price on the garage sale item, that means that's what you have to pay. And it was really eye-opening for me and quite shocking. And one of the key components to that is the strength of the overall resume of the student. Back when I was going to college, it was the best student academically and the best athlete. But today, it's different. The overall package of the kiddo is a critical component. So having that information when she was just starting out in high school was very advantageous, because then we started to have the conversations about joining the softball team, about digging in and finding clubs and looking for leadership, and then other opportunities that existed outside of that in the community. And that got really fun, because that just got you incredibly involved, not only in the community but in the school. And of course, as a parent, in my mind, I'm thinking of the end game, which is eventually college for her.
I had always imagined college kind of being controlled by the parents, and of course the academic, of course the financial part of it is, but the role that I played was so much greater than I imagined, is calling the actual financial institutions at the schools and just putting a voice to an application. And actually I walked into the financial aid office at the school that I now attended, and the financial aid director told me that putting a face to a name on a paper is the biggest thing ever. And realizing my role in actually kind of advocating for myself was one of the biggest factors, I think, in the result.
Yeah, I think she actually told her that no student in 3 years had ever come in to even say hello. So, yeah, we definitely teach to get the student involved, and without a doubt, that was something that Madison had to do, was get involved, take some action on this, and fortunately it worked.
Oh, I was so excited, but truthfully incredibly fearful, as I'm horrible at decisions. I'm the girl that cries at fast food because I can't decide between number 1 and number 2. And so as I'm getting all these acceptance letters and going to the schools and buying the shirts and wearing them, and just knowing I had to make a really hard decision, it was scary. But of course it all worked out, as I found my best fit for school and am just absolutely thriving up there.
Yeah, so the time came, right? And we implemented every single aspect of what we have in College Money Academy for ourselves. We did the education on the schools. Some of the offers we received, we appealed. And one school didn't reply. One school we received an additional $5,000. Which that very well could have been all that we needed to make that school, the most competitive, and the one we chose to attend. That CMA, or College Money Academy, created a $20,000 difference with just one of the schools. But the third school is the one she's attending, and it's the one that we were really, really targeting. It has a cost of attendance for her last year. The exact number was $26,898. And when all was said and done, the out-of-pocket for me was $3,798. So when I talk about the 86% off, that was for this very first year of her freshman year. And it's even better, as she mentioned, for next year, because she's off campus. So the room and board component is gone, and we were curious, what's the financial aid going to department do? Are they going to lower the offer to adjust that? But they maintained the same level of the grants and scholarships. So some of that, when you put all of it together, there's actually a slight surplus this year. And we now have the choice. Do we, some of these loans that we are leveraging, do we take a little bit less? We are now in more control than we were even the first year, which is very exciting. We're going to get done with school with very little out of pocket from me and her mother, and very, very little student loan debt for Madison, which is just absolutely fantastic.
It's like the storm that we looked at for 19 years. We're waving off in the distance, and in sunny skies, standing by a beach, going to my dream school for the dream cause.
It's slightly sprinkled on us.
If anything.